What's good, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 23 of Tune Check. I hope y'all all had a great weekend, and I hope you guys all have a great week ahead. On this episode, we're gonna talk about some news, and then I only got one album that I want to talk about, and y'all should know what it is. The Weekend, Hurry Up Tomorrow. It released, and I've been listening to it nonstop, and honestly, like, it's amazing, but I'll get into that in a little bit. This episode is going to be a little short, but I just wanted to give my thoughts on the Weeknd's album. But as I said, let's just jump into it. Let's start off with some of the news. First, we got J. Cole. He announced that he is making a new blog. He spoke about what inspired him to do it. It's a place for him to share stuff that he's been wanting to do a little blog for some years. Just somewhere where he could just post random stuff that he likes and that, he genuinely fucks with an audience that's similar to social media, and he finally, had the courage to do it. And then he says that the fall off is coming, but not right now. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago maybe, that he released like a list of what he's gonna release. And I think he's supposed to release It's a Boy before the fall off, possibly, because Might Delete Later wasn't in that list, but he released Might Delete Later. But I think that we still might have one more album and then the final album. And I'm looking forward to it, like it's J. Cole. Like, who doesn't want to listen to J. Cole, like he's the GOAT. But we gotta wait and see. And I'm definitely excited to see what this blog is about because he's always quiet. Like he don't really do too much or say too much. But it's gonna be interesting to see like what he talks about and what he finds interesting and what he wants to bring to the blogging community and stuff. So I'm definitely gonna check it out and see what's up. I know his podcast released like the last couple months. I think it's done for right now, but that was pretty dope to listen and hear. And then him releasing his old mixtapes on streaming services like after each episode. I thought that was pretty dope. And he had his anniversary show for his album Forest Hills Drives on December, I believe. And it was all leading up to that. So I think that was dope, having his new fans listen to some of his older music and what he released to get to where he is, and then his older fans to get that nostalgia. So I think that was dope, and I feel like this is gonna be an interesting like venture for him, and I'm excited. I think it's gonna be great. And then we got Tommy Richmond. So he released a little teaser. He has like a new song coming out. It's called Acting Up. The teaser shows two females just, singing the song. It's like 5-10 seconds long. His last album was pretty cool. I wasn't really fucking with it too much. I thought it was very repetitive. It all sounded the same to me. He tried to make $1 Million Baby like over and over. And this new teaser sounds alright. It's cool. I could see it like being very mainstream and like popular and stuff. But I'm excited to see what else he has. He has a very unique style, which is what I think is dope about him, but I feel like it's hard for him to just come out with something new without it sounding the same. I would say kind of like Yeet. He has a very unique style, but every song he releases kind of sounds the same. But hopefully he, drops something good and we get like a decent album in the next coming months. I wouldn't mind another Tommy Richmond album just to see like what he could like come up with, like I said. And then next we got Central C. He dropped his album last week, Can't Rush Greatness, and then he announced the Can't Rush Greatness World Tour. It starts off in May. I believe tickets are on sale right now. Not sure, but I think I might have to check it out because he dropped a really good album, and I think Central C's a dope artist. So, go check it out. Go buy those tickets. Go run up his album if you haven't heard it. His album came out last week, as I mentioned. Again, I'm recording this on Friday, so my last week was last Friday. When this episode comes out, it's probably gonna be Monday or Tuesday, so it might be a little weird with the time, but I just know that my last week was last Friday. But again, he dropped a great album, so go check that out as well. As I mentioned, please run it up. It's definitely fire. Don't miss out. Another person that, announced their tour is The Weeknd. His album dropped. He said he was gonna do a tour like a few months ago. He like teased it and everything and with a movie as well, but I haven't heard anything about the movie yet. But the tour, the pre-sale starts on Wednesday, the coming Wednesday, and then the pre-sale for Cash App cards is on Thursday, and then the general on sale is on Friday. I have to go see it. I wasn't sure because I didn't know how this album was gonna sound, but this album is great. I'm gonna get into that in a few minutes, but I'm gonna have to go see him live. His last tour as The Weeknd. I'm excited. Like I just bought like the vinyl with the shirt earlier. The whole like bundle, like is amazing. I'm excited. I definitely want to go check it out. So go buy those tickets. Go listen to the album. The album is amazing. Do yourself a favor, please. And then next, we got ASAP Rocky. So he's still on trial for his, gun assault charge. Like I said last week, he turned down a plea deal. He said that he's good, with all due respect, and turned it down. So recently, ASAP Relly testified against ASAP Rocky, stating that ASAP pointed a gun at him, and tried to shoot him and stuff, and was shooting at him. ASAP Rocky is facing up to 24 years in jail, if he's convicted of shooting ASAP Relly. I'm surprised that he turned down the plea deal, but then again, I feel like he might win this case because, I mentioned this last week, my last episode. He has like Rihanna money, he has Rock Nation behind him, so I feel like he's probably gonna take a W and be all right. I feel like he should have considered the plea deal just in case. He must be really sure that he's gonna win, and I hope he doesn't, get convicted. I hope everything comes out in his favor. That he's innocent and stuff. He has a family and he's supposed to release more music. We'll see how everything goes. We'll see how this all turns out. Hopefully, everything is good. And then now we're just gonna talk about the only album I want to talk about right now. I know East G released his album. I heard it is pretty dope, but honestly, like, I really just want to talk about the Weeknd album because I just feel like so strong about it. But as you all know, and as I've been saying, the Weeknd released Hurry Up Tomorrow. It's an hour and 25 minutes long. The features or surprise features, they're still not listed on streaming services, but I'm pretty sure it will change in like a day or two from when I recorded this. So the features are Travis Scott, Future, Lana Del Rey, Playboy Cardi, and Anita. Mind you, this is his last album as The Weeknd. He has said that he wants to release music under his name Abel, so I don't know when that's gonna happen, but let's all just enjoy this moment we got right now. And honestly, like the first couple tracks, when I was listening to it, I was just amazed because of how great it sounds, of how like the transitions were, of how it just sounded sonically. It was amazing, very appealing. I love this album. I think personally, this is going to be album of the year. I do not see any other album right now that released or anything else. I don't even know what else is coming out. Like, things always get pushed back, always get mixed up. But I genuinely feel like this will be album of the year. And I don't think anything is going to change my mind because of the fact that this album was just like created and structured in a way that it really like there isn't anything else that could compete with it right now. Maybe it's because it just came out, and everybody's like, damn, his last album, this and that. But honestly, it just sounds great. This gave me a lot of Kissland and Dawn FM vibes. It's like these two albums had a baby, and this is what came out of it, and it's perfect. Like, this sounds so good. It's amazing. I loved every second of this album from start to finish. I've played it like 4 times already. When it released, like at midnight, I heard it like 4 times. I was up to like 3, 4 a.m. listening to it back to back because it was just so good. And I just wanted to reassure myself that it was this good and that I really enjoyed it. This is something I'm going to listen to like probably for the next couple of weeks, to be honest, because it's just that good. I haven't felt like this strong about an album since like 2022, since Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, since Honestly Nevermind, since Heroes and Villains. You know what I mean? Like, these were all great projects that I still listen to this day, and I feel like this is gonna be one of the albums in this decade that is really gonna leave a mark, and everybody's gonna go back and listen to in the next couple years, just like how I listened to all these other albums I just mentioned. Honestly, it's great. I wasn't expecting this, but it definitely like set the bar really high for this year, and he definitely did his thing. Last year 2024 was a great year for music. 2025 kind of started off a little bad, but The Weeknd definitely set the bar, and I don't think anybody else could like really reach it. So as I said, this album is amazing from start to finish. The beats, the melodies, the vocals, the themes. It has perfect transitions. Like, every song transitioned perfectly into the other, and it was just amazing. It was great. He really created like this whole cinematic thing for the ears, and I loved every second, like I said. What I found dope too was that he sampled, Michael Jackson on the first track. First track is called Wake Me Up. He sampled Thriller, or it sounded like he sampled Thriller to me, but I definitely heard Thriller in there, and I thought it was dope. I think he did a great job with that. And it was interesting too because, a lot of people say that he's like the Michael Jackson of this era. I don't really think he is. I feel like it's Chris Brown, but I definitely liked it because I remember in his original mixtapes, the original trilogy, he, released his version of Dirty Diana. So it just recalled me to that moment when I heard that song and when I heard him sing for the first time on that song. He sounded like MJ, so I thought it was dope, recreating that feeling that everybody, had when they first heard Dirty Diana from him. So it just reminded me of that, and I thought that was dope, very nostalgic, and I feel like that also added on to, this being the last album from The Weeknd. But as I said, I loved how this album progressed sonically. It was an amazing journey. I had so many like what the fuck moments listening to this, and in general, like it's just crazy. Even right now, I'm just like, wow, like this really just came out and it's just amazing. I'm telling people about it, like, go check it out, go listen to it. With most of his albums, he's been like perfecting his craft inch by inch, album by album, song by song, from his early mixtapes to now. And I appreciate it as a listener, as a fan, and as a music lover. And I feel like this was just like showcasing that even more that, like, yo, I've done this and I'm able to do this and I'm still good at whatever this is. And he really delivered. It's 22 tracks, like I said earlier, but it doesn't feel like it's long or overbearing. The length is perfect for what he wanted to convey. It doesn't sound too long, doesn't sound too short. It sounds perfect. It does not want you craving for more. It definitely brings you back to listen to it again, as I mentioned, because it's just that good. This was a really satisfying conclusion to his recent trilogy, coming off Dawn FM, which is another great album. I enjoyed Dawn FM. Like I said, this reminds me of Dawn FM at Kissland. Kissland is my favorite Weeknd album. I think that will always be his best work. And this album is most likely second, to be honest, because it's just so good. I genuinely feel like he gave some of his best work here, on the qualities that make The Weeknd one of the best artists there is, from the dark themes to the dark lyrics and creating these images that, he's known for. Like, whenever you listen to his music, you get these feelings and these emotions, and then, you play stuff in your head and stuff like that. I think that's dope. And he's always been able to do that. The storytelling, the imagery, and all of that stuff. He sings about themes that are just familiar to all of his fans from like his early work to now, but definitely more for his early work, about drugs, women, sex, love, like these very deep, deep lyrics that are like very depressing at times, to be honest, and like these like dark metaphors. And then he continues to like sing about, trauma to like loved ones and families and relationships and friends and all of that trauma that comes with all of that. And then, sings about self-worth as well. And then the same thing when he comes to the emotions that he like portrays here, from love to grief to heartbreak to personal loss and loss of connections or wanting connections, it's just amazing. And I feel like he did a really good job with everything. And I know I'm repeating myself, but it's just a really good album. And I just want y'all to understand that it's just a really good fucking album. And as I said earlier, again, I'm repeating myself. I know the transitions here are just so masterful, as always. He's always been great with transitions and making things connect like it's a story. And what makes this even better, like this is what puts the cherry on top, to be honest, like, is that his last song transitions into the first song on his first mixtapes, which is High for This. The song is High for This. That is just dope as fuck. Like, everything really just came full circle. And I feel like that was just a great way to end things. He really just told his story in full, and now people could go back and listen to the beginning, and with knowing the end, and it's just complete. It doesn't feel like nothing's missing. It doesn't feel like you need something else, like you want something else. Like, he delivered everything from all of his trilogies. Everything's just there. And I think that's amazing. Just like how, earlier when I mentioned the MJ sample, to Dirty Diana, one of his songs from one of his mixtapes. It's like that. Like, it was just very, very, it was just very good, and just I appreciate that little creative thing, that little piece. This is dope. I loved how he ended his career and his persona as The Weeknd with this. I think it was smart. I think it was the best way to do it. I'm definitely excited for that movie he's releasing. I'm gonna have to go check that out. He did say he wants to release music under his name Abel. Not sure how that's gonna sound like or what it's gonna be like. Maybe it might sound similar to his music as The Weeknd, but hopefully it doesn't. The whole point of killing off this persona is to end that, talk about his experiences as Abel, but maybe he might say this and then release like another project or song as The Weeknd. I hope, he's able to do something different when he releases music under Abel. I mean, I don't mind him going back to the Weekend persona, but I feel like it would just ruin like this whole thing since everything really came to a close and he's been gassing it up and played all of the parts and put all the pieces together for it. But I'm excited either way because, great artist regardless of what persona it is. But I think Abel is gonna like, do something great too. But he definitely left off on a high note, with the Weekend, as he said, as he wanted to do, leave when it's like at the very peak, and he did that. And like I said, I'm excited for this tour. I'm about to be there. I'm about to go. You guys should definitely go too. I hope you guys can because this was a perfect send off. And yeah, like that's really all I got to say. Like I'm still in shock, and I'm just like, damn, this is a really good project. Definitely the best of this year and one of the best of the decade so far. But that's it for this episode. I wanted to make this episode about the album and the Weekend. Shout out to the Weekend for giving us timeless music, great projects, for everything that he's done for R&B and just for music in general, and for being one of the greatest artists around right now. Definitely a goat. He's definitely going to be the artist for the decade too. Like I don't see anybody else doing it because he's constantly breaking records. But thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys have a great week. As I said earlier, please listen to this album, enjoy it. Go follow me on social media. Share this episode and my previous episodes to everybody, your friends, family, uncles, cousins, loved ones, ex girlfriends, people at your job, people next door in the store. It don't matter. If there's any music that you guys are listening to that I didn't like mention or that you want me to check out, please let me know and I'll check it out for you. I'll let you know what I think. But tune in next time. Peace.